Good morning, guys, and welcome back to Dusting Off Warlord Saga of the Storm. Featuring the Mercenary Uncommon Warlord, Anacaona, I think is how you pronounce that. I'm not really sure. Um, so this actually, I think I thought this. I thought, and not that I don't enjoy making these, but I thought, or I was hoping, I guess at least, that when I built that Wasan deck, it was so much fun to theory craft. It was so much fun to build it, and it was a lot of fun to play it too. As I'm starting to delve into these, like this feels very, very generic. I don't know what else to do with her. And I'm hoping it's not the same for the last two that we have. Roan was a little bit different because that was an Ancients, and the amount of options I had were orders of magnitude greater. And so this one, going back to Into the Accordlands, yeah, I know it's I know that once more sets come out, it's going to be this is going to kind of go away, I think. But we're not going to have anything quite so bland as this. Good heavens, man. Anacaona, she is a 5th level cleric. She's good. She is a human peasant. She's a peasant, okay? I don't think that does anything. Maybe there'll be cards that interact with the peasant trait. I don't know. I want to say this has nothing to do with actual Into the Accordlands, but I want to say the Guardians of the Storm. I think they're doing, at the time of this recording, I think they're gearing up to do Strategic Warlord, which, if you don't know what Strategic is, I think the first game that did this was Legend of the Five Rings. And this format, when done correctly, it's such a good time. Basically what it is it's kind of like a cross between Warlord and Risk. Or L5R and Risk. I haven't actually. I think I've played one Strategic Warlord, and it was a disaster. So yeah. In L5R, what it would be is you would have all the clans represented. Shadowlands is represented. Depending on what format you're playing, like what era, what edition. You could have monks as a faction, ninja as a faction. But basically, you would have, and you also need a sizable number of people to do this, at least to do it properly, in my opinion. So you have five. I'm trying to think of what the I want to say I'll just call them generals. You had 5 generals, okay? Or you had a general for each faction. I'm just going to say 5 for the sake of this discussion. They would all be segregated from everybody else in a room with a map of Rokugan, with a map of the Warlord world. And basically, they could see where all the pieces are on that map. And they would basically, the goal is to win, and largely you're going to have to work with other people to do that, at least in the beginning. And so they would do the diplomacy thing, where they would, it's usually like Crab and Lion ganging up on the Crane, because of course it's going to happen. But they would have a set amount of time to discuss this, and each round had a set amount of time, and there was another person who was a runner. Now, in my opinion, the runner was the best job. If you played correctly, the runner had the most interesting role. If you play poorly, and when I say poorly, I don't mean that as a bad thing. Like if you decide and you're one of the players, that's also a lot of fun. The runner is the only one who is allowed to communicate between the general and the actual players. There's, I think, 3 players per faction. So that would be 5 people per team. 1 general, 1 runner, and 3 players. So the general would give his orders to the runner, and the runner would go from the set-off room to where the players are and tell the players, he's telling you to move, and there'd be like a map, like with locations and like almost like a hex map. And he would tell player A, the general, we made an alliance with the unicorn, and so, but we think that we think that the Manus and the Phoenix are going to do like a 2-prong thing, so we're going to send you to help reinforce them. And if there's no attack, great, but if there is, we do not want a 2-on-1 scenario. And the other person, you say, I've noticed defenses in this area are kind of weak, so we're gonna send one of you out to kind of check the area out, potentially take the province. And the other guy, you're staying here because we want someone in reserve in case either of those things go wrong. We want some backup. So the players could choose to follow these orders, which is the smart thing to do, or they could choose I don't care about my general. I'm not, I have my own agenda, and I'm going to go do whatever I feel like. And so the players, they tell the game master where they're moving their token that represents them, and the runner, he can relay messages back and forth. And just like the player, the runner does not have to give, he does not have to give accurate messages from the general or from the players. And so, oh man, oh the runner job is, oh, that's where it's at right there, man. L5R is a game that, historically speaking, I don't know what it was like towards the end of it, but towards the beginning of it, like it was, if I'm remembering this correctly, and it's been 25 years, 20, no, it's probably closer to 25 years. But L5R was really big on like bribing people to do things, and so it was like totally allowed. You could be like, I want to say a really good example would be in game. If you're gonna lose, or you're at a big tournament or whatever, your opponent could be like, I have this shiny card here, I will give it to you if you concede. And I want to say you were actually allowed to do that. You were allowed to be like, yeah, let's do that. And you could have conspiracies outside of the immediate game. You could have like a group of players conspiring to get a certain story result and everything, which is that's how Totori Sadao died. It was an actual conspiracy. People had to put another Hantai on the throne. What is the saying? Love the treachery, but hate the traitor. I guess so. It was very, very awesome. Anyway, where was I going with all this? Strategic's awesome. You have to run it well. Like, it needs to be as fun as it is to mess around and stuff like that. Like, you really need to stay focused on it, because the only Warlord strategic I played, it was at, I think, Gen Con 2012. I think it was 2012. It would be so easy for me to verify this. I don't know. But unfortunately, that one, as much fun as I had, it was not run very well, and there were too many communication errors, and people were in places that they weren't supposed to be, as far as like they couldn't possibly be there with how fast their tokens can move, and it was not run well. So I have no doubt that the Guardians of the Storm are going to do a better job on that, mostly because the time constraint is not the same. Like, we had to try to play this event in like 3 hours or something like that, 4 hours maybe, I don't know. But they have like a month to do it, so it's like I don't think they're gonna have the same problem. It's gonna be great. That's what it is. I believe the Free Kingdoms Warlord or Overlord for the strategic event is the new king of Andover, or the new king of the Free Kingdoms. I guess Andover would be one of them. And I think he has the peasant trait, so you know what? Whatever, man. That is a long tangent, okay? L5R is so freaking cool. Warlord's cool, too. Don't get me wrong. I love me some Warlord. I probably like Warlord more than L5R, but L5R I have so many more memories, because I was so much more social back then. I didn't hate everyone like I do now, so whatever. Okay, so Anacaona. See, it's been like less than 10 minutes. I don't even remember how to say her name. Yeah, she's a peasant. She's got a +5 and a +1. And it looks like she does ice damage, frost damage. 15 armor class, +9 skill, 3 hit points. She has medicine +5. With her skill, she fails on a 5. Yeah, she needs a 6 to make that, which is, she'll make it most of the time. And then limited react. After an opposing character moves, your target character journeys. I know I have covered her before, because she was in one of the 2 decks that I got that were played at Gen Con 2025? 2024, 2025? Whatever they were. That Daniel Gore sent me. Her and Lord Belasco, I think, and I haven't covered him yet. So, one of the things about this react that's really interesting is this trigger is almost certainly going to be one of the most common triggers in the game. So, opposing character moves, that's if they just move, that's if they fall forward, that's if you shove them backwards, that's a whole bunch of things can trigger that. So, and your character journeys, which is, it's free movement, it's done at react speed, which is really, really nice. Yeah, looking at her in Ancients, she looks like she might be... I don't think she's going to be anywhere near as good as Tavis, but her with Bloodworm, you wouldn't need to start Frigid. I don't know why you wouldn't be starting that, but... Like, anyway, but whatever. So... unfortunately, as much as I think her ability is pretty awesome, she also feels very, very generic, and it's not her fault. But like when I look at Wasan looks like he does not look generic to me at all. He was fun to play and fun to build. Anita Yasar looks also fairly interesting. This guy, she just kind of I don't know. So we are going to be starting. Basically, I'm trying to do several things with this. I'm trying to take advantage of her movement ability, or her movement react, and the fact that she's a cleric and can buff things. So, in rank 1, we've got 3 copies of Sutek Slime Fang, and then behind them, I have 1 Sutek Razor Claw and 1 Isadran Kennel Master. One of the things I think that's really starting to suffer from how, and I'm not even saying this is a small set, but it feels like a somewhat limiting card pool. Isadran Kennelmaster, I think, is in every single other, uh, every single for. I think he's going to be in the Belasco, and I haven't started on her in it yet, but he's going to be in Anita too because. I mean, it seems one seems solid, but two, not a whole lot of choices. So, so what I'm doing with this is one, the Sutek Slime Things. These guys are also pretty freaking awesome. They've got great stats and a death react, and it's not even a death spend react, so they don't have to be ready to do this. Spend target opposing character within one rank, so that's awesome. To like slow things down, one of these dies and you spend one of their ready characters. This can also not even just for the opening rounds of the game. This doesn't care what your level is, and there's no check involved. It's like, so this can spend warlords with that, which is, whoo, if it's a frontliner, that is freaking depressing. But behind them, the Sutek Razorclaw, his melee strikes can target spent characters an additional rank away, so he can spend to attack after two of these have gone off, or one of them has gone off, and they spent someone to, kill it, and then the Slime Fang spent something. You can make both of your strikes with that. So. But the Kennel Master is there because, again, after something moves, this is almost certainly going to be the thing I move first. I can see some potential scenarios where that's not the case. Say it's like Freaks and they're starting a two. I think they're called Crownland Strategist, and they've both shot. I think perfectly acceptable to move the Sutek Razorclaw forward and then try to stab them while they're in rank 2. So yeah, it was just a kind of interesting start here. So at least by my standards, it's kind of an interesting start. So. As far as other characters go, so we've got 3 copies of Sturges and 3 copies of Trogid. Now the Sturges, I think they're definitely better in decks where you can buff their attack. The +0, it kind of sucks. But, I mean, this is potentially 2 strikes, and yeah, he's a body. He can help potentially break ranks. The Trogids, again, these are great. Just, there aren't really all that many monsters in here. It is unfortunate that I think most of the Sutek are not monsters. So again, the Razor Claw is not a monster. Yeah, but it is what it is. I do have at least one monster. Actually, I think there's a total of 4 that I would really not mind getting some extra movement from. So yeah, doing those. And then 2 more Kennel Masters. So we got 3 of these just because I think these are awesome. And then one of the new cards, Recruiter of Messir. So this is a 4th level cleric. He's a human summoner. Which is it's so weird seeing summoners as clerics. It's not normal, guys. I'm sorry. I'm not even sorry. That's just, ugh. His stats don't really matter, I think, most of the time. He is fairly stout. 14 AC with 2 hit points. I mean, he is level 4, so maybe he should have that. But, spend react after an opposing character enters play, put a character into play. If you control a mercenary warlord, you may reduce the character's entering rank by 1. Now, several things. One, I love stuff like this because mercenaries... They, generally speaking, have the most limited card pool in the game because every other faction, it's them plus mercenaries. But mercenaries, they don't get characters out of faction the way other factions get mercs. And so I really like abilities like that where it's like the effect itself is, there's some tempo there of just, after they play a guy, I can put a guy into play. It doesn't cost me an action. But in this case, you can reduce its entering play rank by 1. So several things. One, that can put a Kennel Master into play ready in rank 1 as a react to them playing a guy. Then he could punch on his action. It's just cool. I like that. 2, again, if you can't actually make the rank, like you're trying to play a level 5 but you don't have a rank 4, this guy can help you there. So I do like that. Him being a cleric is also randomly nice. I'm going to set him off to the side to make sure I don't forget about this. Speaking of abilities like that, then we have. I have 2 copies of Master Dresden in here. I am actually very, very much on the fence about this guy for a very, very strange reason. This guy, I think, is absolutely phenomenal. In my opinion, and I'm some stupid guy living in California, I play for fun with my friends. I don't know what I'm talking about, but this, I think, is by far the best card in the set. I don't think anything comes close to this. And this, I think, is probably... I'm going to have to go back on how many things are in the game, but this, I think there's a conversation to be had about this being one of the best cards in the game. Like, not even counting just the format, because, okay, so Dresden is a level 4, he's a wizard and a rogue. He's got Charisma +0 and Scribe +0. The Scribe, I don't know. Charisma, very, very amazing ability now. His stats are also amazing. Interestingly enough, he does not enter plane rank 5 the way these used to, because it doesn't actually say that he does. So, and he has this limited react. After your character moves, target opposing character must succeed with a will save, DC 15 or spend. If you control a mercenary warlord, you may use this ability twice per turn. So again, this is going to be an extremely common trigger. Your guy's moving. That could be your guy just maneuvers forward, your guy falls forward, your guy uses a steed to move forward, your guy moves with Anacaona. Oh, good lord, yeah. Target a character, DC 15 or spend. No range limitation, no level limitation. It doesn't exclude warlords from being targeted. And if you have a merc, this ability happens twice. This is so freaking good. And the reason I'm on the fence about this is not that. The reason I'm very skeptical about whether these are going to stay in here is because of how difficult these are to get. So he is a legendary, and okay, so I got a total of 5 boxes. I got 1 with the Kickstarter, 3 from Covenant for the promo, and then my local game store had Warlord, so I bought a box just to support them. And I only got 1 of these, and how do I even put into words what I'm thinking here? I have watched games when multiple copies of this guy are in play, and it is nuts. Okay, like when I covered this guy with Yasar the Elder, and that feels like forever ago. I know it wasn't that. Actually, it may have been that long ago. I think that was before the break. That was before the hiatus. That was a while ago. I don't know if I don't know if it's because I didn't actually play it and I didn't see it, but I was imagining this just being kind of an interesting thing, especially if you play like Maddening Scream, which I think was in that video. And I keep talking about that card. I love that card. But even without that, again, we'll say I have 2 Dresdens in play, okay? I maneuver something. Your Warlord, DC 15, or spend. The Fighter Warlords have about a 50-50 shot of making that, okay? He makes it. The other one goes, okay, DC 15 or spend. Or say he failed it. Then you get someone else with that. And then because you're playing out of mercs, each one of these can do it again. They can't react to the same trigger, but, I mean, another one of your guys moves. And it's just, basically where I'm going with is this. Actually, I'm nobody. It doesn't really matter what I say. I don't want this to be, were you willing to spring for Dresdens? Because these are pretty pricey. And again, we're mostly just playing for fun. And I mean, I'm one of those people where I like having the actual cards. And I understand I come from a position where, because I've been collecting Ancients for like 25 years or whatever, it's not quite the same. Because I have almost everything. But it's like, what I don't want to have happen is, and I don't think this will happen because I'm perfectly willing to pull these if these actually turn into be a negative experience. But like, what I don't want to have happen is, I intentionally, I was gonna build Alrin Gaunt as the first deck, the first actual constructed deck I built for this format, and I didn't specifically because I only had 1 Dresden. It really looked like I needed 3, and I didn't want it to turn into, did you guys spring for 3 Dresdens? Because I did, and so my deck's going to kick the crap out of it. And I understand that's not always going to happen, but I don't know where I'm going with this. I don't know. He's freaking awesome. I'm questioning whether he's too good for our little play group because again, I don't want this to be like Zach was willing to spring for a play set of these, no one else was, and all of a sudden, yeah, whatever. I'll stop talking. So we got 2 copies of Dresden for now, and then the monsters that are in here to hopefully benefit from the Trojids are 3 copies of Thunic Yeti and a copy of Blitzer. So Thunic Yeti, I covered this guy in Gorthos Shadow's Axe. He's a barbarian. In this case, his react might actually do something. It doesn't seem like it does much in that Gorthos deck because if he's hit by Gorthos' ability, I can't use his react. So his stats are okay. He's got 3 hit points, which is awesome. His armor class sucks, but nobody cares. Actually, I care, but whatever. Kill react. Characters that were adjacent to the killed character must succeed with a fortitude save, DC 18 or spend. Good heavens. Yeah, so there's some freaking synergy between this guy and Dresden. Like, you might be spending the freaking world, okay? DC 18 or spend. And it's not once per turn. He's got 2 strikes. So yeah, ooh, that could be awesome. And then Blitzer. I am a really, really big fan of this card, and I understand that I suffer from I think it's called SUS, Special Unique Snowflake Syndrome. That's a War Machine term. And this guy should be in the Ephraim deck. He's specifically not because this is an evil bastard, and that deck is somewhat thematic. And yeah, but that's not the. I don't have to worry about that here. 2 + 6 is 16 AC, 3 hit points. Oh, his stats are so great. He's level 4. He's he's unique. That's right. Reindeer originally weren't unique, but they counted as unique. It was very odd. Like if you had the reindeer trait, there couldn't be more than one of you, but you didn't have the unique. Whatever. His melee strikes inflict an additional wound, which is awesome, and even more awesome. Spend order, perform a melee strike that may target an additional rank away. So if you're trying to hide in rank 2, this guy just like I don't know what he's doing. I don't know if he's like literally like jumping over, goring you, and then running back. I don't know. But this also kind of like the what is it, Sutek Razorclaw, whatever that guy's name was. Where is he? Yeah, the Sutek Razorclaw. You could have him swing from rank 2 into rank 1, and he wouldn't even need to be. They wouldn't even need to be spent for him to do that, and you would still get the additional wound. And if you want to, because the ability to do that and keep him safe, because he can't equip items. Now I am playing a cleric, and so keeping him alive is usually a little bit easier in cleric decks than other ones. But if just the ability to do 2 wounds is more valuable than his second strike to keep him alive longer, you might just want to keep him in rank 2 and keep doing that. And then we got some dragons here. So we have Dreadfang. Dreadfang actually came out in 4th edition. I think his flavor text is Judge Dekius, I think is his name. He says, like, he'll make a fine trophy from my collection or something like that. I think he was channeling General Grievous or something like that. But he's a wizard. It doesn't really matter. He's got +7 and +5, 17 armor class. He's got 3 hit points. Once per turn, he could journey, which is move forward or backward 1 rank. And then after he hits a character with a melee strike, they have to make a poison save, DC 16 or suffer wounds. So potentially, maybe not 2 wounds per strike, but kind of that effect. He does have to hit, which, yeah, in DC 16 is fairly good. So, and then the new one, Swift Cloud. This is a good dragon. I don't know, it's blue. It also can equip items. Once per turn, it can flap its wings, just like Dreadfang can. His stats are, I think, actually a little bit... Actually, his stats are mostly comparable. His attacks are slightly better, but his armor class is 1 lower. Skills the same, hit points are the same. Limited order, put a character into play from your hand, ignoring loyalty penalty. If it is a mercenary character, you may reduce its entering rank by 1. Again, you can do a lot with that. Potentially put, a Dresden 1 rank closer. But again, putting an Isadran Kennelmaster into rank 1. Very, very similar to the Recruiter of Messir, except this thing is way scarier when it starts getting to the front and swinging on things. So, that is the character base there. So, when I said this deck felt generic, this is why this deck feels very, very generic. We've got just 3 quick shielding, 3 quick strength for buffing armor class or attack, and then 3 gift from above to buff armor class and attack. And again, these things are, and actually I'll mention this right now too, and 3 copies of leveled, because yeah, all this stuff I think is, it's mostly in here for the Kennel Master. Now, if you can get a leveled on the Kennel Master, I mean, that's pretty good, and then even just quick strength on him to give him 3+5s, that's a lot. I'll chop through a lot of stuff right there. And then the quick shielding, just to, I mean, I guess you can use this to try to keep him alive. I don't think it's going to help him very much because it only puts him up to AC 15. It will, however, help something like the Blitzer or one of the Dragons, or even actually the Yeti's AC sucks too. Just something to help some of your tankier characters stay alive longer. Again, I don't think the value is all that great on the smaller stuff with that. The quick strength is different because 3+5s is kind of comparable to a +8 and a +6. So, yeah, yeah. I actually, the level might be pretty good on the Sturges, too, because they could also potentially have 2 strikes. It only puts their AC up to 10. Yeah, still everything hits them. Yeah, maybe it's a bad idea. And then 3 copies of Sacrifice. Again, that stack of cards I just read, this feels like this could go into any cleric deck, and it's going to play basically the same. That's why I say this feels generic. So, and then out of Into the Accordlands. All those cards I just read, they've all been in the game for... actually, I think these have all been in the game. Okay, Sacrifice was out in set 1. Sacrifice used to transfer all of the wounds instead of just 1. Oh, those were Days of Glory. You transfer to an Endfather or something like that to keep Uriel alive from Chain Lightnings. Yeah, it was good. Leveled, first set. Gift from Above, first set. I think Quick Strength and Quick Shielding, I think these came out a little bit later. I want to say somewhere around Nest of Vipers. Or Call to Arms. They were out in the pre-campaign block. So, but this was not. 3 copies of Invoke the Storm. So this is a level 5 cleric action. It's lightning. It's a spend order. You put a Stormlord character token into play in your first rank, ready in your first rank. It is important this is ready because that means it doesn't suffer a loyalty penalty. It's a level 5 evil Deveranian Stormwraith fighter with +7/+7 lightning attack, 8 armor class, +7 skill, 3 hit points planar. And that would all be great, except at the end of your turn, kill one of your dev characters. Now, the only devs in this deck are these tokens themselves, so it's very, very odd. Basically, this is just creating 2+7 strikes, and it kind of buffs your ranks for that one turn, but it dies at the end of the turn, and you have to fix your ranks. Yeah, yeah. I actually what is her name? The freaking Drider chick. I have gotten used. I haven't actually played this in a dev deck yet. Like, I pulled 3 of them. Like, I want to build that. What is her name? Oh, I see. I suck with the names for this new set. The robber in this set, the dev robber, whatever her name is, the dev cleric. And I just didn't get around to building it. Instead, I'm like, this Drider trick seems pretty cool. Seems like you can do some combos with this. And then in here, it's like, this is just another character with 2+7 strikes, and it dies in a turn. I don't care. If you were able to somehow, I don't know, cast 2 of these, you'd only have to kill 1, because the first one could kill the second one, and then the first one would stay alive for a second turn. But yeah, I don't think there's any way in this deck to do that, because the dragons are the wrong class and the recruiter is the wrong level. He's not high enough level. So I guess in some weird bizarre world, if the recruiter Messier killed something and played a level, he could. Probably never gonna happen, but whatever. And then we also have 3 copies of Skulk in the Shallows. So this is something for... Actually, this is something for Anacaona to do. Because to spend order, you can move an equal or lower... worst case scenario, she spends to move somebody. And she's not really doing anything most of the time. So if you roll a 19 or 20, up to 2 of your characters can journey. So move forward or backward. And if you roll the nat 20, any number of your characters can journey. Lower level, equal or lower level characters can journey. So she wouldn't be able to move... Actually, no, it's equal or lower. So she can move anybody with this. And yeah, pretty much, I think the only spend things in here for her to do are the Skulk and Shadows, the Invoke the Storm, and then one of her items. Yeah, nothing else really requires her to spend, and all of her spells, none of them require her to be close to the front. So she has no business leaving rank 3. If she is, it's because bad things are happening. So yeah, that's just a way to get some potentially more movement. And yeah, so a lot of this deck, it's... One of the things I've kind of noticed in this set with some of the decks that I have, a lot of these decks are just move your guys forward. I know that probably sounds really, really like, no shit, Zach, move your guys forward. But a lot of the decks that I either have or that I'm thinking about doing, again, Ephraim, it's just move your fighters forward. The War Boss deck that I was scheming on, it's move your fighters forward. The Gorthos deck is basically move your fighters forward. This is a cleric deck, and it's basically like move your characters forward. I guess because this one's not fighter specific. So just try to move them forward. Ugh. I'm hoping you can't hear that. They started mowing outside, whatever. If you can hear that, I apologize. Yeah, and then so just rounding out a couple items. We have 1 copy of Hod's Legacy. This is the other thing that she might be spending to do. You can actually give this to the Recruiter of Messier, and it works on most of your... Maybe not most. It works on a good chunk of your stuff. It has to be lower level, so it discounts or precludes the Dragons, the Blitzer, and the Thunic Yetis. I guess the Dresdens, too. Actually, that's a good chunk of your characters now. He wouldn't be able to move another copy of himself. So I guess it's an option. You could use this if she did spend to do something. And it can move the Kennel Master, which I think is the really important part. But really, it's probably better on her. And yeah, that's just a way to, again, potentially, if you quick strength a Kennel Master and then you get to have him ready and attack again, I mean, that could be pretty great right there, especially if he's been leveled at that point, too. So that's pretty awesome. And then 1 copy of Analysis Deverenium for Scribe, because I can see some scenarios where I think quick shielding, I think, is kind of the biggest guilty culprit here. In my experience, moving a Kennel Master's AC from 10 to 15 does not tremendously improve his survivability. It helps, definitely, but it's not a breaking point. It's not like 15 to 20, where all of a sudden the +1s and the +2s, they need to spike their rolls to hit you. So if you draw those and you don't need them, or it could be the inverse. It could be their attack is so high because they got buffed from something. Like, say you're playing against another cleric deck, and their Kennel Master goes double quick strength on him, and he's got +10s. Yeah, giving yourself +5 is probably not going to help you very much. So you might want to save it for next turn when he's not getting that +10 to his attack. Analysis Deverenium lets you get Scribe, and that lets you attach it for later. The bonus is +15, so you need a 5 to make it, so that's pretty good. Yeah. And then Xalcam... Oh, good lord. Xalclam? Excalum Codal? Oh, good heavens, man. Yeah, I thought her name was bad. Good lord. This is a familiar. It gives you +3 skill. Really, the really weird thing about this card is that +3 skill has been actually really important in several decks that I've played. It also has this ability, I guess. You spend it, you and target opponent both reveal the top card of your decks. If your card is higher level, your next die roll this turn gains advantage. That's what I'm doing for it in here, because there's not really too much in here that her skill requires. I guess her medicine check, it does help it a little bit, but yeah, that's just, I mean, advantage is nice, and it isn't necessarily your next strike. It a lot of times will be your next strike, but if you have to make a save DC against something, I mean, that could be kind of nice. And then rounding out, just 2 copies of Riding Horse. Why is this not a different steed? Oh, you know why? It's because Dresden, that's why. Because both the Dresden and the Thunic Yeti can play this. Again, you could, if you draw, you can put it on the Recruiter, and like that way it's not stuck in your hand. The Dragons can't equip it. Anacaona probably should not be equipping it, but maybe there's a weird reason she would need to. I don't know, whatever. So, yeah, not too much more to say about this. Again, it's not that I don't think this will work. It's that it feels really, really bland. It feels very generic, like it's every other cleric deck. A couple other things I was considering. Again, she has no real business going to rank 2, like at all. Like, there's no reason on her card to be there. Medicine has to be a character in her rank, so Sacrifice is typically being pulled onto her. There are some cases where you'll sacrifice onto the Trogid to move one of the Yetis forward, or the Blitzer forward. But for the most part, there really is not a reason for her to be moving around. If you were to include something, some of the items in this set... I think I mentioned this in one of the other videos. Whatever the cleric regalia is, I should know this. Actually, hold on. Where's my... Okay, I can... Great freaking quality production here. Let me see. What is this? What is her name? Shaisa the Weaver. That's the Drider chick I was talking about. Okay, so it's Luthlerus regalia. This has done some pretty insane things for me. Out of Shaisa, and one of the reasons why I like it with Shaisa is because Shaisa, it's so much easier to find it, and this has to be a character within 2 ranks, and again, I don't really want Anacaona in rank 2, because there's no reason for her to be, but if I were to include the regalia, the Balian's Helm might be worth including. Yeah, the regalia is also why the skill bonus on the Codal was so important, because it buffed the save DC on it, and there weren't actually very many things in this set that seem to just give you an AC or a skill bonus. So the other one is Medical Kit. Now I said that she needs a 6 to make her medicine check, and she should make that most of the time, but there will be those games where you fail it multiple turns in a row, and that's just, oh, it's heartbreaking. So yeah, could throw that in there just to shore it up. Then there's also this. I only have one of these. Curse of Greed. I really like this card, but it's also kind of a dick card. After target character pays the cost of an action to draw or retrieve a card from their deck, cancel the action and wound the target. That could be a kick in the dick. That could be a kick in the dick right there. Okay, like good lord, man. So yeah. If you're canceling, even meet at the end. You know, even meet at the end, that could suck. This is, interestingly enough, I want to say back in the day, there was a card called Back Alley Tavern. There was Meet at the Inn, and what was the? I want to say it was Cut Purse. Was the other one? It's been a minute. Where basically, and I'm gonna try not to butcher this, but from what I remember, and I could be getting this completely wrong, but from what I remember, before campaign edition started, I think, when someone would say, like, meet at the inn, if they didn't say who it... Maybe this is just the people I played with. If you didn't say who it was assumed it was your Warlord playing it, and then that opened them up to be abused by things, so yeah. So this is kind of a contemporary of Back Alley Tavern. It even has Spend Order Wound. This character draw a card, so yeah, very similar. This is limited to rogues and clerics, but Anacaona is a cleric, so I think this card can be pretty solid. Especially if you're playing a deck where you want to kill yourself and you have the means to do so. It might be kind of cool. And then the inverse of that, Final Blessing. Again, great card. Really, really awesome. This card is in so many of my cleric decks. It probably should be in here so I can make it even more generic. Because why not, right? So, yeah. After they hit one of your characters, you can give them +1 hit point. That could keep a. If your Kennel Master got hit, they have 1 strike left and it hit him, and yeah, he would die. You play this and you swing with them, and then if they try to get something from their discard pile, you cancel it and you wound them. These two together, I think this could be a very scary combination if you have a deck that has both of these. Because Back Alley Tavern is just giving me more cards. These are both actually wounding you. Curse of Greed actually hurts you. So like, yeah. If you have something that makes spells or actions do more wounds, like Halo of Fire, that could be scary. So okay, I don't have anything more to say at this point, guys. Thank you so much for checking us out. God bless you, and I'll catch you in the next video.